So it will not be a surprise to anyone watching this video to learn that social media, for all the good that it has done, for all the connectivity and the power it has in today's society, is it's bullshit. So when you see somebody's social media feed, you're just seeing the highlight reel. You're not seeing the true ups and downs of their life, their career, their achievements. And nobody is immune to comparing their own story to other people's highlight reel and forgetting to incorporate all of the downs as well as the ups. And comparison is the thief of joy. So to add a little bit of balance to that, I thought I would share with you the top 9 most embarrassing moments in my coaching career. One, in the hope that you can get a little bit of humor and enjoyment out of me falling flat on my ass. 2, just to demonstrate that failure doesn't necessarily have to be terminal. And of course, number 3, which is to learn from my mistakes so that you can make different and interesting ones of your own. So number 1, I was volunteering for a team, and because I thought it would be funny to jump in on the joke about this athlete's weight, this was a grown man. There was some banter going around about this athlete's weight. I joined in, and apparently I was the straw that broke the camel's back, and I made a grown man cry. And obviously I felt fucking terrible about it. I was not an established coach at the time, and I was basically so embarrassed that I kind of found an excuse to stop volunteering at that particular organization. So yeah, generally stay away from making fun of athletes' weight unless you really know them well and you're in on the joke. And even if you think you are and they're female, never do it. Number 2 was generously referred a training client that was an athlete rehabbing an ACL post-surgery. I was given my instructions by the physiotherapist that made the referral, went off script, ended up jogging this kid on a treadmill. Thankfully he wasn't hurt, but he was obviously sufficiently nervous that he told her, and then she made it quite clear to me in no uncertain terms that I was not to do that again. Graciously, she did it in private, but yeah, it was an embarrassing moment. And the moral of the story is you call the shots when you're in charge, and until such time, the medical practitioners are in charge, whether you like it or not. Number 3, do not call a teenage athlete a pussy, especially in front of his mother, even if he is a pussy, and he was. He was a lovely kid, but there was a lot of underlying issues that may have contributed to him being softer than baby shit. But you know, ultimately, even in adult athletes, it's a very rare breed that is going to respond positively to that unique brand of feedback. It's certainly not with 17, 18-year-old athletes. So yeah, try and build people up. And again, kind thanks to my mentor, Ian Taplin, who was very tactful in that feedback to me and in telling me not to do that again. Love you, Tappers. Number 4, bombing an interview at Nottingham Forest to be an intern so badly that it was a 15-minute walk from the interview back to the bus station, and I got the call to say absolutely not. I was not going to be taken on as an intern in that 15-minute interval. The guy's name was Ryland Morgans. I never spoke to him again, but I tweeted him maybe a week ago, 13 years after the fact, to thank him, because he made me realize that I wasn't ready for it yet, and I hadn't earned it, and I wasn't deserving of that spot, and I had more work to do. So ultimately, he did me a favor, but during the interview itself, I was so uncomfortable because I felt so exposed that I knew I was going to bomb it, and I knew I wasn't ready. And yeah, I felt like curling up and dying during that interview, but thank you, Ryland. Number 5, this is a recent one. I'd been invited to speak at a conference and randomly found myself on the list of speakers with a very prominent coach who I'd actually emailed maybe 2007 to ask this guy for an internship or just for career advice. And he replied, it never went anywhere, but yeah, I wanted to approach this guy at the conference and say, hey, you know, you will not remember me at all. I remember you. I just want you to know that I ended up becoming a coach. I kind of made it. And just to introduce myself and say hello. And as I approached this guy, I completely fucking blanked on his name. I asked him, is this your name? It was the wrong name. And he very quickly got offended and said, no, that's not my name. And basically just walked away from me. And I felt about 3 feet tall. And I was embarrassed for a good hour. But then I reflected on the fact that people get my name wrong every day of my life. And I'm not a dick to them, so you know who you are. Number 6 is a special one. I never actually told the people that sent me on this trip. So, the cat's out of the bag. This was a trip for Exos. I got sent to Shandong province in China on behalf of Exos to try and help them land a contract for one of the Chinese Olympic Association training centers. And before I took the trip, I was briefed by the international director of Exos. He said, hey, if they ask you if you drink, you can't kind of say maybe, you have to say it's either a yes or a no. And if you say yes, they're going to make you drink every single night. And at that time, I was much more of a frequent drinker than I am now. Now my answer would be absolutely not. But yeah, I was like, yeah, I'll get involved. And the first night I was there, I think we did a bottle of whiskey at dinner, and that was actually one of the tamer nights. The night before I left, and the same day that we were to have a meeting with basically like the board of executives for that particular province in China, we went out and hit the piss at dinner, and I think we did 2 bottles of whiskey. I was absolutely steaming drunk, and bear in mind, all of the food that I was eating was not food that I like to eat at all. So it was like one thing piled on top of another. Next day, I did a training session with an Olympic finalist in the high jump. I cannot remember a detail of that session. Could not tell you anything about it. That was fun, and I got through it. But later, we had to have a meeting in the boardroom with all the executives, and I kind of got this gurgle in my stomach, and I said to the translator, like, I need to go to the bathroom, please. He's like, oh wait, just let me finish the sentence. I said, no, I need to go to the bathroom now, I'm going to throw up. And that he didn't translate that part. So they asked where the toilet was, and I stood up, and I was on the far side of the table, walked around the table, and promptly threw up on the floor of the boardroom in front of all of the directors, and then again in the hallway, and I think once more in the hallway on the way to the bathroom. And a blessing in disguise, the contract did not materialize, and I did not have to work in China. Number 7, I have just grouped into one. It is the numerous foot in mouth situations where my unique sense of humor has obviously not been appreciated by those that I'm either working with or those that follow my social media. The text of Keir, take that down at William & Mary from Eric Coram is probably on a weekly basis, so if you follow my social media, you probably didn't even get 100% of what came out during that time. As I tell my interns, there's 2 kinds of people. Those that know me, like me, get me, they're in on the joke, and pussies. So yeah, if you got offended, you need to toughen up. Number 8 is the time that I was basically summoned to an emergency meeting of senior players, management, staff, and myself, basically with regard to the concerns about my work as a strength and conditioning coach. And the work was good. All it was it was not what they were used to, and I dug in my heels for the sake of what I believed was right, and this was not to the taste of some very influential people in the team, which was spearheaded by one of the most famous rugby players in the world. Ironically, I was at like the height of my career in rugby, but he was too, and he's way more important than me. And it's very embarrassing to be forced to justify your existence. And I'm very thankful and lucky to say that particular player and I get on great now. I still speak to him all the time, even though I don't work with him. And he said the event makes him cringe. It makes me cringe too. It made me cringe at the time. And obviously it's shaped how I work moving forward, because sometimes I'll sacrifice a little battle to win the war. or in the words of John Pryor the Wise, every now and then you have to tickle their balls. And lastly, number 9 is the time that I had a door slammed in my face at the end of a spirited debate about the training of a particular team where I was leading the physical prep. I had made the mistake of outlining in exquisite detail just how wrong the head coach was about numerous aspects of the program that he tried to argue me about in front of the entire coaching staff, and it culminated in him telling me to lay out what I thought the schedule should be of the various elements, and it looked nothing like the schedule that we were currently running at that time. And he said, "Why doesn't it look like this?" And I said, "Because on day 1 you came in and told me that the boys don't like the program. They're not big, strong, fast or fit enough, and the work needed to change." And yeah, he promptly slammed the door in my face. And then we spent the rest of the season communicating through my poor assistant. We never spoke directly. And that was, one of the many reasons that I was glad to leave that year. And the coach in question promptly replaced me with one of his best friends, and they tanked another 6 places in the league, and he got fired. Prick. That is just 9 of the many embarrassing moments in my career. I'm not done embarrassing myself. There's likely going to be very many more. But I think the moral of the story is there are very few things in this life that you can't come back from in a career, as long as you learn from it and get better from it the next time, make a new mistake, keep improving. These moments are rarely terminal. So if you like this video, please like, subscribe, comment, share. And if you would like to get your hands on some free resources to help you make less embarrassing mistakes like this, click on the link below, enter your email, and we'll send you a whole bunch of free stuff. Thanks.